I think that's a very interesting question. Zina, is it really today what it was back then? You see, I agree with you, Ibrahim, right? Bubs Core saying yes. Bubs is trying to create a scandal, but I do appreciate I do appreciate the kind of comments. Shukran, shukran. But this is going to scandalize me. You know, it's like the, what's that? Main karu to sala character deala hai. You know, that's the, if I do anything, it becomes a scandal. Ab kya kare? Majboor hain babba. So, right, coming back to this point, I agree with you that today we are in a problem. Huge parts of the Islamic, not the creed side, not the faith side, but the practice, the social element side of Islam is in a huge... But I'm only joking, Relax. How is it going to become a scandal? So the thing is, look, we are in a huge kind of crisis almost, that a lot of our theory is outdated. It doesn't match what we are facing today. That comes with the bulk of Islamic rulings and teachings. You see, teachings could cover other aspects, like things like beliefs and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking more about the kind of social side. Things like relationships today are massively problematic. And I don't know what the solution is. But I would welcome a discussion, an open, honest, transparent discussion by ulama, where they are prepared to kind of have to reanalyze our context and come up with suitable ijtihadat. Right, so this is the understanding, because look, in our day and age, if we're going to face it, look, marriage, it's become such a headache. It's not me. People are going to think I'm just kind of venting here. I'm not. I'm just being honest with the kind of cases that I deal with. That, you see, first of all, to get into a relationship is so hard work. Marriages cost so much, huge costs, such a big do, such a big social event. People, you could either buy a house or get married nowadays. That's like the cost that you're looking at. Now, okay, almost half a house, to be fair. Now, then divorces are outcasted. Polygamy is kind of, it's kind of disowned and seen as a kind of like really looked down upon. Divorces are stigmatized. Then we've got like expectations that are kind of very idealistic of relationships. Like relationships, we're confused between a Eastern and Western, like a traditional understanding where everything was pragmatic. So it didn't matter, you just got on with life. Like, let's say the generation of our parents, it was just about just getting on with life and functioning. So they have that pragmatism. So we're confused between that and an idealism, a romanticism of which is emerging with the Instagram culture of, you know, I'm drinking coffee with Bay, or I'm having a milkshake, and every day we're at this kind of dessert place, or we're kind of you know, this kind of culture where everything is just hyper like romanticized, which isn't, I don't think it's real. I mean, I suppose as a guy, probably you never understand romance anyway. But that said, these things are not, okay, maybe for some people, for some time it works, but it's not real. You know, this kind of Instagram life is not a real life. So the problem is that issues, people getting depressed, then they don't know how to kind of cope. And then when do you get married? Like people say in our societies, people will say, "Oh, do you like her? Why don't you just get married?" What kind of a recipe for disaster is that? So people are like, look, and then younger people, like let's say somebody 18, 19 getting married. Seriously, humanity gives, ahlan wa sahlan, humanity gives charity, doing some great work in the Midlands, helping homeless people, orphans. So if you want to get involved in some charity work, reach out, connect, like, and donate, inshallah. Right, so look, so now you've got all of these issues. If somebody was like 18, 19, imagine them getting married, especially guys at that age. I mean, the immaturity is unreal. And then what? So then they're like, well, you know, so people say, no, you must get married, and other people say, no, just wait. But then we live in a hypersexualized society where everything is about everything is about sex, or it's about romance, which I suppose is connected to the first thing, or it's about living the life, being happy, and so what we have just doesn't work anymore. And so the question is, what is the solution? I wish I had a solution, and then people are like, oh, you know, they don't know what to do, and God, and you know, like I have so many people reach out. I wish I had a solution, but the ulama are refusing to engage. The scholars are refusing to recognize that as a problem. They're just saying, look, what do I mean by immaturity? Well, like, look, let's face it, an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old is not really ready to be married, because all that's going to happen, as it does happen in some of these things, so he gets married, it will, like, I don't even need to, it just leads to, for example, unwanted pregnancies. It leads to great kind of like, oh, I made this mistake, oh, you're never really right anyway, oh, and I mean, there's too many examples that I come across to kind of go through. The fights, the lack of communication, but the issue is, I'll tell you what the issue is. The issue is people are not ready for kind of full-on living in couple, mother and father relationships at young ages. Like, let's say 18, 19, even in the early... maybe sometimes if the woman is, but the man is older, that's different. But I'm talking about the men being that young. Now, but at the same time, they have a strong need for sex. So this is a huge problem from a religious perspective, because there is no solution. Islam has zero solutions to offer today. Now, in the past... and I'm not trying to say whether it's good or bad. I'm not trying to justify. I'm just saying suspend your judgment for a moment. But none of these things were an issue. I mean, so people just got on with life. Divorce wasn't stigmatized. People got married where they didn't want to get married. They had concubines. So that was like, don't worry about it. Why should I get married? They were like, well, I've got all of these. Now, I'm not trying to pass a judgment on saying that was, whether it's good or... what I'm trying to say is that they had solutions, though. So this fast and keep your gaze down. Get real, Jawaid Yaqub. You obviously haven't tried to say that in the face of high levels of testosterone. Fast. Fast? What the hell would I want to fast for? Look, let's face it. So what? These things are absurd. This is why I find them in our day and age to be highly inept and inadequate responses. Cold showers. No, you don't need cold showers, right? What you need is obviously sexual interaction. You don't need cold showers. It's like, you know, like, so let's get real. Now, this is why people snap. So today, if the Muslims would, like the scholarship would, first of all acknowledge that is a problem. Ustad Omar Qureshi, ahlan wa sahlan, tasharrafna. Right, so people, Ustad Omar doing some awesome research from the States with legends like Dr. Sherman Jackson. So right there in the house, so you can reach out to him, inshallah. Right, so yeah, so I wish people would kind of have an open and honest kind of discussion on this and say that, look, in our day and age, what is the solution? Because if we're going to be honest, somebody asked a question that, look, a girlfriend and boyfriend situation, is that not equivalent to a nikah? That when a girlfriend and a boyfriend go exclusive with each other, everybody knows that they're a couple. Everybody, they attend events as a couple. They do all these things as a couple. Would that not fall under a nikah in a sense, as in people recognizing their exclusivity? And I said, look, I think that is a very interesting and good question. I wish that the ulama today would kind of acknowledge and embrace these things and start to kind of like bring them onto the table. But the problem is they won't. Can someone volunteer to be a concubine? Why not? What was that famous line that that guy said about the... Oh, damn, I forgot now. The famous one about... Oh, I forgot. But anyway, so you see, the base desires have always been there, but there's been huge... One thing in the past is that the outlets were never an issue. So in the past, marriage was not an issue. It was very simply done. Divorce was not an issue. If you're having an issue, you just went your own ways. Divorce was not stigmatized. Polygamy was the norm. It was accepted that men had sexual kind of other partners. Men were allowed to have many, for example, other sexual partners, as an example I'm giving. Now, these like concubines and things like this, in the past I'm speaking about. Now, what I'm trying to say is that this is why they never stressed in the past on this topic. What we have today is society has flipped things on its head. So society's become hypersexualized, and Muslims just have this option of nikah, which is highly dramatized with culture and then made into a very expensive event and then locked into. So it's become problematic. So anyway, I mean, that's... I want to go on to a different topic, which there's a program which I didn't really watch completely yet, and I've got to watch, about Muslim women in the UK. Have you seen the hotties out there? Kamaran Kola Ji. Natty. Right, so I mean, what do you want us to say? Send pictures on here. Is that what you want us to say? Yeah, it's because of this kind of a sense of humor that I get myself in trouble. Am I embedding a command? Like by saying that, like, what do you want us to say? Like, send pictures. Ah, God. I need to... My humor can get me into troubles, I tell you. So, yeah, so I want to get back to this mut'ah. That's, I think, maybe if ulama were to discuss these things again and be prepared to have an open discussion on them. Right, so Saif Hamdani caught the stream for the first time. Ahlan wa sahlan, tasharrafna. The hair man, love it. Right, Sacha Paris. All right, so exactly. Look, it's nothing whether you're married or not married. It doesn't really make a difference. The male brain is only preoccupied with one thing. Anybody who says anything else is a lying kafir. All right, I take that back. I take that back. Right, I take that back. That's my humor going out of control. No. Right, so the point is, I want to get to this discussion of... there was a program about Muslim women in the UK that were getting married, and they were saying that, look, they didn't know that basically the nikah and the civil marriage, these are two different things. Okay. Right, so Arisha Khan, wa alaikum assalam. Yep, any question, you can post your questions. I'll try to, inshallah, get to them. Click like, click share, get the live feed out there, people. Right, so, you see, the issue is this, though. Look, you know, because people say, yeah, but Muslim women, I'm not so sure if civil registration, civil marriage is the solution. Because I'll tell you what I'm against, or what I dislike, and I dislike the fact that if there was no longer to be a relationship, that you cannot leave that relationship officially until the state endorses it. I'm against that kind of... I'm free-spirited, people. Yeah, if I want to be in a relationship or out of a relationship, why do I need permission from the state? Why do I need to go to court for a year to plead to be out of a relationship? Why? You know, it's a free world. If I want to be in a... That's like saying if I don't want to be friends with somebody, I need to go to court, and it's going to take a year or a year and a half to get an official document to say I can't be friends with you. So this is the problem with state kind of like civil registration marriages. I have a problem with that. As to the financial side of things, look, the problem here is as well, and I'm gonna look, we already know this. This is why a lot of people do not do this as well, because they will say that, look, like let's say a guy says, look, this is my house, my car, I've got this, you know, I've earned it. Now, if we go get married, and let's say next year you want to leave, you want half of my house. So people will say, look, I'm not happy with that. And to be fair, I can understand where they're coming from in that angle, whether it's a man or a woman. But at the same time, I can understand there is a flip side to this argument, that if you said to a woman that, look, let's say there's been 20 years of a relationship, and you could not, I refused, or that you should go and work and develop for yourself, then now we end the relationship, what do you have? That's also a wrong. So I accept that. I accept both sides to the argument. But the problem is both of these are so, how do they fit? Because they're both kind of like, they're repelling. The magnetism is repelling people. So how do we, so I would say, look, before you are about to get married, right, you can have a very open conversation with the other person. If you are adamant that you want this registered, you can make it clear. Either the person will agree or they won't. That's one way. The other way, when are you going to compete rot missions? I don't even know what that is. Right, so the other side is that if the other person is not prepared to register the marriage, the person says, look, I just want a relationship, we can live together, we can be one family, but I don't want to register because I'm against this kind of concept, then you can make it clear. I feel that you can make it very clear that, look, you will still continue to live your individual life as well. That you will work, like if you want to work, you will work. That you will keep your money to invest towards yourself as well. So if a woman wants to keep her money, or let's say keep a portion of her money that she will always invest to. So let's say some women, they could be married, but she could say, look, I want to buy a house separately on my name. I want to put that on rent. And I want to, you know, that will be my separate income. Alhamdulillah, I think that is a brilliant idea. I encourage those kind of ideas because this will keep you as a woman independent. You are not dependent on the man. Yes, you are together, you're working together, you're both contributing, but should things fall out, you can go your way, he can go his way. You've got you've got something, you've got a stable place, you've got a property, you've got an income, you've got things. So what I'm trying to say is, I think there can be an honest conversation at the beginning of a relationship to say, look, this is what I want. And then you can negotiate. What I do condemn is, I condemn that approach, that attitude that some people have, that if a woman wants to work or if a woman wants this, that she's not allowed to have that, or she can't do this. That is backwards. It has nothing to do with Islam. It is cultural, and it's not even truly cultural of places like Pakistan, because even in Pakistan, which the majority of which is rural, the vast majority of all rural women go out and work. And they work in the fields, they do the crops, they do all these things. I've witnessed it with my own eyes. So to say that women can't go out or they shouldn't go out is backwards. That is an insecurity that lies with you. But I do accept the fact that some men they would be concerned that, look, this is something I've had, that if I go register something, how do I not know this isn't just for my, you're not just in this relationship 13 months from today, you could be in court saying you want half of my property and you want half of this, and then you just want to enjoy that really with somebody else. Now, these suspicions in these societies, they're not good suspicions to have, but I do understand that people have these suspicions. Okay, next question. Khalid, they are married to your chaches. I've got no idea. Are anabolic steroids permissible? Steroids are an issue of legality and not an issue of theology. They are not haram, but they are an issue of legality. In the West Bank, they work there as well. I was there for a while. It's great to hear, Cameron. I agree that, and this is just insecurities that certain people have, and I think that's Khalid, you're going to get blocked. Enough of the stead talk, right? You do not have to encourage that the origin in the masculinity and the custom control those rights that women want. Is cannabis alright? Behave. State and government love it because they get paid for divorces. Exactly. I'm against that kind of state control. I'm against totalitarianism, people. Orwellian states and me just do not go together. Next, I tell you what, let's take some rapid round questions, people. Right, let's take some rapid rounds. Prenups. Prenups in the UK don't work. That's the problem. They're not legally binding in the UK. Right, so let's take some of these questions. Let's have some rapid round. Stephen Gurty, how's you? Eyes good, man. ¿Cómo estás, usted? ¿Cómo están usted? How are you? Right, so that's so true. Women should be independent, sounding a lot like Hizb ut-Tahrir today, Mufti. Wal-'iyadhu billah, that I should sound like Hizb ut-Tahrir. I've always been against totalitarianism. I feel that the government should always be a laissez-faire, I think they pronounce it, that a kind of hands-off approach to ruling people.